Logical fallacies. Today we have the strawman, false calls, the fallacy fallacy, and the slippery slope fallacy. But with that being said, welcome back to the It Be What It Be podcast, hosted by yours truly. And today we're going to be talking about logical fallacies. We have 4 of them, as mentioned at the top of the video. And we are just going to be getting straight into it, and with starting off with a bit of an update on just how the channel has been going as a whole. By all means, you know that I like to make sure that you are aware of just some of the different streams and some of the different accounts that it is possible to view on the channel. So there's been some work that's been done to the home screen, which I am particularly proud about. You can see over here. In fact, I'll make it even bigger right over here with the It Be What It Be podcast. You'll now be able to see a channel intro video. You can see that the live stream we have upcoming, maybe actually if I refresh that, it'll say that we're in fact live right now. There you have it. We're live right now. And we also have a video up, which is a clip of the last content reactions live stream. And so that was from Staying Alone, and we also have even some more shorts available for you to see. I've been trying to get some more clips going on from the last live stream, so getting some new ways of getting videos across over to you all. And of course, we are on this channel unveiling and addressing the mechanics of people, interpersonal interactions, societal influences in life in general. Throughout my life, many people would claim that intangibles are not quantifiable and that the situations in life just happened and that it is impossible to be articulated or put into words. That never sat well with me, hence here I am sharing some of what I've discovered while continuing to learn more along the way, and also while not letting the behaviors of the Homo sapiens species as a whole off the hook. Some people that inspire me in my content include Robert Greene, Ryan Holiday or the Daily Stoic, Mark Manson, Chris Williamson, Dr. Orion Taraban or Psychax, Jennifer Brick, Crash Course, and more. And there you have it. We have our Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Blue Sky, and TikTok that you are able to look into as well. But another source of inspiration, and I'll just head back over to the home tab over here. Another source of inspiration, and this is already linked in the description of this video, and that is going to be the school of thought. The school of thought I have covered in some previous live streams as well. So pretty much it is with the purpose of the school of thought is to help us question all schools of thought, encouraging argumentation, philosophy, critical thinking, and cognitive biases. I want to also address that debates don't have to be fights. I made a short on this. And that also in terms of argumentation, that someone can present an argument as a point to bring up in a debate. And yes, ideally a healthy debate, not just a debate that is turning into an argument. I'd like to distinguish between debates and arguments because debates typically are more formal, but they also, I think, can be quite productive, whereas arguments are literally a fight. In fact, if I was to take a look, see here, define debate. And so a formal discussion on a particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward. Discussion, exchange of views. I'd like to see that, discourse, parlay, you know. And of course, there is over here argue about a subject, especially in a formal manner. I'd like to even highlight what is the difference between arguing and debate. Debate is formal, deliberate, executed according to an agreed upon set of rules, and a decision is made at the end of the debate. Debates use arguments, but an argument itself is informal, usually unplanned, and can get heated and doesn't always end in a decision. And even if I just say define argue, Then give reasons or cite evidence in support of an idea, action, or theory, typically with the aim of persuading others to share one's view. Exchange or express diverging or opposite views, typically in a heated or angry way. And you can see there's more of a fight over there as well. So that's typically what it is that I just want to be able to highlight in terms of a debate versus a fight. And the whole point is that I encourage debating and, as I was saying, healthy debates that do not turn into an argument. Furthermore, then we have this website project here, Your Fallacy Is. I've been alluding to this in some previous videos, so now it's time to actually get into it and to discuss a series of logical fallacies. So I love how it says, Thou shalt not commit logical fallacies. We have Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle. Really do appreciate some of these Greek philosophers. And a logical fallacy is a flaw in reasoning. Logical fallacies are like tricks or illusions of thought, and they're often very sneakily used by politicians and the media to fool people. Don't be fooled. This website has been designed to help you identify and call out dodgy logic wherever it may raise its ugly, incoherent head. Roll over the icons above and click for examples. If you see someone committing a fallacy, link them to it. yourlogicalfallacyis.com/strawman, which is actually going to be so that is an example of linking someone to the logical fallacy, but that is actually going to be the first fallacy that I would be covering today, as you could see in the title of the video, that there were four different fallacies, and straw man certainly is the first of that. So let's see what it is that we have over here. In the straw man, you misrepresented someone's argument to make it easier to attack. By exaggerating, misrepresenting, or just completely fabricating someone's argument, it's much easier to present your own position as being reasonable, but this kind of dishonesty serves to undermine honest, rational debate. So essentially, what I like to highlight from here is just misrepresenting someone else's argument and doing it intentionally in a way to make it sound less reasonable while making your own position sound more reasonable. An example here is that after Will said that we would put more money into health and education, Warren responded by saying that he was surprised that Will hates our country so much that he wants to leave it defenseless by cutting military spending. And so, as you can see, putting more money into health and education doesn't mean that there'd be cuts to military spending or leaving the country defenseless. Certainly, by all means, it can. But that's where I believe that a clarifying question would come into play and would actually be a lot more ideal to do, in this regard. So by asking some of these clarifying questions and being able to actually figure out more concretely what someone's position is. Now, that being said, onto the straw man fallacy. I also think that it's important to ensure that we have someone else's argument correct. And so I do think that it can be very useful to be able to try to repeat in your own words what it is that someone else is putting forth in terms of an argument. That being said, as well, I mean, for example, when doing some sort of assignment in university and writing an essay, for example, or writing a report, typically the idea is not to plagiarize, and there's a multitude of ways to plagiarize. Looking on Google to find different answers, and especially with Chat GPT now, I mean, I wasn't in university or any type of schooling while Chat GPT was available, so I could only imagine what it's going to be like now to have to deal with that. But the point is that there's going to be the way that the information is initially presented, and then there's going to be the way that you could present the same information in your own words. So there's multiple ways to be able to convey the same meaning with different content. What I do think can be a problem, and something that I've noticed that, trying to be sure of someone else's argument can become really semantically reductive. So, say, for example, you're late. Yeah, I didn't arrive on time. Oh, I didn't say that. you know? For example, let's give me some more real estate over here just to add to the impact that I have to say. Another example would be I have a subscription to Netflix and Disney Plus. Oh, so you have two streaming services. I didn't say that. You know, Another example. I'm trying to eat less so that I can lose weight. Oh, so you're on a diet. I didn't say that. Another example. This is too much to ask. I don't think that I'm asking for a lot. I didn't say that. It's just essentially trying to represent someone else's argument can result in it being unproductive to an extent that someone else has to be literally exact and verbatim with the representation of someone else's argument. Someone is essentially establishing a premise with their statement and with language. There are multiple ways to communicate the same message and meaning. So it becomes semantically reductive to essentially declare that someone else is putting words in your mouth because they're using different content than the original interlocutor. Okay. It just is someone trying to clarify what your position is, or even repeating your position is in their own words. And then all of a sudden, that can be a problem for some people, which does not add to making discussions, debates, conversations a lot more productive. I also do think that a version of the straw man can also be very useful, and that would be for the purpose of identifying what someone else's argument isn't. For example, don't watch Netflix or shows, don't go out partying, don't do any drugs, Well, I don't want to be productive at every waking hour of the day. I want to chillax, recharge my battery, not take life seriously 24/7. It's not about straw manning the other person's position, more so than it is about eliminating what isn't the other person's position, is the point I'm trying to get across. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next fallacy. And as much as I would like to use the arrows on this website, it doesn't actually go through the fallacies in the order that they are presented on the website. It's kind of just random, uh, to my dismay. And so I'm going to actually just click on the top over here and go on to the next fallacy, which would be false cause. And so, false calls. False cause. You presume that a real or perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause of the other. You know, Many people confuse correlation, things that happen together or in sequence, for causation, that one thing actually causes the other to happen. Sometimes correlation is coincidental, or it may be attributable to a common cause, right? Example, pointing to a fancy chart. Roger shows how temperatures have been rising over the past few centuries, whilst at the same time the number of pirates has been decreasing. Thus, pirates cool the world and global warming is a hoax. I mean, yo. Okay. So, with all that being said, I have some more to say about the false cause. I've noticed that this mostly occurs in tandem with the ad populum fallacy, which I'll be discussing in a later live stream. So be sure to follow and subscribe for more. And that when people attribute the correctness of a position based on how many people adopt the position, or when looking into statistics, or even when wondering what came first, the chicken or the egg. For example, Gary isn't happy because he didn't get a promotion he thought he deserved, versus Gary isn't getting a promotion because we don't see that he is happy at work. What came first, the chicken or the egg, right? And even in terms of the example that they have specifically in regards to Roger shows how temperatures have been rising over the past few centuries, whilst at the same time the number of pirates have been decreasing. Does pirates cool the world and global warming as a hoax? I have another weather-based example for you. Okay. So there is more crime when ice cream sales go up. That would be another example of the false cause fallacy because, right, there is more crime in the summertime versus in the winter or in any other season, and ice cream sales go up in the summer versus the winter or any other season. And I have receipts to prove that as well. Let's take a look, shall we? So, my receipts would literally be going into Google and just giving it the typity type. What season has the most crime? And there you have it, summer months. Right there and then. Summer months, hot summer months. And I'll even take it even further. And we can even ask, what season has the most ice cream sales? June and August. Summer is peak season, you know? So, in terms of the example that I was giving, that crime goes up when ice cream sales go up, well, that is a false cause. It is a coincidence that crime goes up and ice cream sales go up at the same time. It makes sense because it is the summertime. All right. So, with that being said, let's go back to discussing the next fallacy. And the next fallacy is going to be the fallacy fallacy. The Felicia. You presume that because a claim has been poorly argued or a fallacy has been made, that the claim itself must be wrong. It is entirely possible to make a claim that is false, yet argue with logical coherency for that claim, just as it is possible to make a claim that is true and justify it with various fallacies and poor arguments, right? So it is possible to make a claim that is false, and yet to be able to argue that with logical coherency, by all means. And it is also possible to basically try to come up with valid arguments despite the claim itself not being despite the argument not being sound because the premise is true. And then it's possible to have an accurate premise, but then to not make valid arguments to be able to reinforce the truth of the premise. Their example here is recognizing that Amanda had committed a fallacy in arguing that we should eat healthy food because a nutritionist said it was popular. Elise said we should therefore eat bacon double cheeseburgers every day. And there's a bit of a disconnect here, but to what it is that I understand from here, either they made a typo and Amanda and Elise are actually the same person, or other than that, then it's just saying that we should eat certain foods because they are popular. And so if a nutritionist said that a particular food was popular, such as bacon double cheeseburgers, which the nutritionist is not saying that that is an ideal food to eat. But if they're saying that it is popular, then in that case, it is worth it to therefore eat those foods because the nutritionist said that it was popular, which is the same logic that the nutritionist that Amanda is using as to why we should eat healthy foods. If the nutritionist said that healthy foods was popular, the nutritionist then also said that bacon double cheeseburgers are popular too. So, with that being said, I mean, that one I just think that it's pretty simple. Really, not really much more that I want to say about that. And so I'm actually then going to try to focus on one other fallacy, the last one that we have, and that is going to be the slip and slide, the slippery slope fallacy. You said that if we allow A to happen, then Z will eventually happen too. Therefore, A should not happen. The problem with this reasoning is that it avoids engaging with the issue at hand. Excuse me. And instead shifts attention to extreme hypotheticals. Because no proof is presented to show that such extreme hypotheticals will in fact occur. This fallacy has the form of an appeal to emotion fallacy by leveraging fear. In effect, the argument at hand is unfairly tainted by a substantial conjecture. And so it's just saying that if we allow A to happen, Z will not necessarily happen. It can, but not necessarily. The example that they give over here is that Colin Closet asserts that if we allow same sex couples to marry, then the next thing we know, we'll be allowing people to marry their parents, their cars, and even monkeys. Now, I don't want to necessarily go too far into same sex marriage per se, but I'll actually shift the focus onto a number of other political issues. And I have a few that I've already thought of, but the point is that I think that some people really exaggerate the length to which a particular action can get out of hand. You know, in some cases, I do think that it's true to say one dose of heroin can get someone hooked for life. So I do think that that is fair. In other cases, I don't think that missing 1 week at the gym or having a night of drinking is going to throw off someone's progress in their life so much that they are now incapable of recovering from it. And like I said, I was going to throw in some political criticizations here as well. So, according to my positions on some of these matters, to criticize a right wing position, if we allow lockdowns to happen over vaccines, that it sets a precedent for more draconian and totalitarian measures to be put in place. Maybe, but that just seems extreme to me. I mean, certainly lockdowns do have quite the authoritarian characteristics associated with them, by all means. I'm just not necessarily so sure that that would be. I'm not necessarily so sure that that is going to be more likely to happen because I do think that with the vaccines and COVID was a particularly extreme scenario. So I'm not so sure that that's likely to happen per se. Seems extreme to me, but I'm not going to claim that I know for a fact. That being said, to criticize a left wing position with a conservative majority Supreme Court, they really could do a chain link of overturning the termination of pregnancies, then overturning same sex marriage, then overturning interracial relationships, and then they would be more and more onto a pathway to fascism. I also think that that's very extreme to put a slippery slope in regards to the policies that would be overturned by a conservative majority Supreme Court. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to claim that I know this 1000%, but that really does seem pretty far fetched to me. And although, in regards to both the left and the right, if a protest is happening and we stop someone's ability to protest, that could result in it being harder to protest for any position at all in the future. Say a country like Canada, for example, there were truckers' protests. That was a very right wing position. And yet, if we stop people's ability to protest, then I am pretty concerned. I mean, Justin Trudeau literally froze bank accounts, you know? And so I am concerned for people's ability to protest if that were to if there were measures that were put in place to stop peaceful protests. And I could say for the left as well, such as protesting some of the military conflicts that we have going on in the world, such as Israel Palestine. That if we stop people's ability to protest, trying to go on university campuses and trying to protest, if we stop their ability to protest, then that can make it very much more so difficult to have the ability to protest in the future. And I do think that that would be a lot more common than, say, encouraging more authoritarian measures because of the authoritarian measures that were put in place during a pandemic, which is a specific event versus, I mean, certainly a military conflict is a specific event, but there's a number of reasons why people would want to protest, a number of different reasons. So I would consider that to be a lot more likely to happen, you know. And as a byproduct, I do think that that could be a slippery slope to stop people's ability to protest. So trying to be, I mean, I'm not really trying to take a political side in my content here. I'm literally just trying to raise awareness of some of these different logical fallacies. And the whole goal of this is that ideally I can help people be able to identify some of the different logical fallacies that are happening to them or that they're witnessing because, and I'm going to take more of the screen here because I really want to get this message across. These logical fallacies, even though you may not be using them against someone else, someone else can be using them against you. I famously like to use this quote of, it comes from the Avengers, Loki in particular, Avengers 2012. Nick Fury, I'm paraphrasing here, says, "We have no quarrel with you." And Loki says that an ant does not have a quarrel with a boot. And so, that being said, it's just to say that some people say, don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. And I think that that's a bunch of bollocks. That at the end of the day, it's essentially this situation that it can be very difficult to just try to operate without awareness of these logical fallacies, because especially if you're not really someone who's going to use them against someone else, they can be used against you as well. So raising awareness of this, ideally then we are able to make them a lot less prominent and effective. I'm trying to remove power from these fallacies by creating this content. But it be what it be. So, with that being said, that's pretty much what I just have to say for this particular series of fallacies. I will just end off with one last video from a YouTube channel that I wish still continued. And we'll show it to you over here. So it's called Exorna Education. and it shows a number of different fallacies, and I'm going to be definitely referring to a lot of their different videos over time as well. But there is one video that I want to play for today, and it is the
Guard your thoughts.
Alrighty.
Guard your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Guard your words. Your words become your actions. Guard your actions. Your actions become your habits. Guard your habits.
So as you can see, the slippery slope, and I'm just going to change this right over here. The slippery slope is playing out just right over here, but let's continue to watch.
Your habits become your character. Guard your character.
Newton's first law states that any object in motion will remain in motion until acted upon by an outside force. This means a bullet traveling at approximately 1,300 meters per second will continue on its trajectory until friction in the gravitational pull stop it, or until it comes in contact with another object with sufficient.
And I bet that you're very much so itching just to see how the rest of this plays out. So let's take a look. I'm just doing periodic stops just to not be affected by the copyright, but let's go.
Sufficient mass or inertia.
Your character becomes your destiny.
So just for the sake of getting the impact in, I'm just going to play that one more time, and then we're going to wrap up here. But I really do like the video, and I'm actually going to demonstrate that by giving it a like.
Guard your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Guard your words. Your words become your actions. Guard your actions. Your actions become your habits. Guard your habits. Your habits become your character.
So it is guard your thoughts become your words, guard your words become your actions, guard your actions become your habits, guard your habits become your character. Okay.
Guard your character.
Newton's first law states that any object in motion will remain in motion until acted upon by an outside force. This means a bullet traveling at approximately 1,300 meters per second will continue on its trajectory until friction in the gravitational pull stop it, or until it comes in contact with another object with sufficient mass or inertia.
And your character becomes your destiny.
Your character becomes your destiny.
There it is. So I definitely do think that that was very interesting. That came from 7 years ago. There it is. Guard your thoughts become your words. Guard your words become your actions. Guard your actions become your habits. Guard your habits become your character. Guard your character becomes your destiny. And so with that being said, let me see here. That is the Exorna Education channel. So feel free to give them a look out. But with all of that out of the way, that is today's live stream and presentation. So thank you very much for joining in on that. I will like to just reinforce that this is, of course, the It Be What It Be podcast, and you'll be able to find out more information, there is a number of different videos that we have. Channel is growing. Even I especially like to show the TikTok as well. And you can just see right over here as I just take you all to the TikTok. There's even more followers on TikTok, 310 likes on some of the videos. Some of these videos are getting up to 700 likes consistently. So, plenty of content for you to take a look at there. I'm also on Instagram. I am also on Twitter and Threads as well, and or Twitter/X, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and of course, I'm on YouTube. So, hope that you enjoy your weekend. Be sure to check out some of the other videos, and I hope to see you on the next one.